in your world, I don't know where the sun hides its light. What I see is unknown. Never know your love. Never know your love. Underground I come from. Mystery, beware. I destroy what I want. Never know your love. Never know your love. Never know. Never know. Oh, never know. Never know your love. From my flesh you drink blood. You believe this is life. If you knew what I am, you would want to die. Never know your love. Never know. Oh, never know. Oh, never know. Never know your love. Sirius Moon and Saturn, I have flown to them all. Furthest reach of Nocturne. Never know your love. Never know your love. Never know. Never know. Oh, never know. Never know your love. It's so unusual how they destroyed it all. It's a conspiracy. I think they're listening. I think they're watching me. I think they live inside my brain. Brain. meat grinding death machines, red eyeballs, glowing fiends, wait on the cobblestones, hypnotic reptile maze, electric pulsing wave. I hear they're near, iron siren tones. Dimensions you will never know. It's a tragedy for you and me. Won't they set us free from the particle beam? Madmen chasing hands, then again, that's me. Oh yeah, that's me.
I was hospitalized in the psychiatric unit in September of 2008. My cousin, Willie Graves, hung himself. Perturbed, I went to the emergency room. I was questioned there about a scar over my right eye and how it appeared on my forehead. I replied that there was the possibility that demons were hatched from my brain. I was forced against my will to sign a document stating that I was allowing myself to be committed to the psychiatric unit. I was hearing the voices. I possess parapsychological abilities in transporting material objects by the efforts of my own inner attunement. The doctor considered this a threat to myself and others. I was forced to remain in the hospital. This was a dreadful example of the spiritual bias against my beliefs. I was threatened with hospitalization for a much longer period by the doctor. This is proof of religious persecution that is, unfortunately, a strain of prejudice still powerful in politics and culture. I hear the voices. I will describe who and what this voice actually is. Bon Scott, lead singer of the 1970s era Australian hard rock group AC/DC, sang, and I quote, "Hell ain't a bad place to be," unquote. That is where this voice and vision is originating from. I don't have a problem with that. The gods have chosen me the same way any god chooses someone else. If you do not believe this, that is your choice. The gods have bestowed upon me a great gift for manipulating the laws of quantum mechanics, for an understanding of the Schrödinger equation in physics that describes the wave function of matter evolving over time. In my communion, all-seeing, all-knowing omnipotence, I have learned that the values of the wave function are probability amplitudes, complex numbers, the squares of the absolute values of which give the probability distribution that the system will be in any of the possible states. With my divine powers fully concentrated within my spiritual being, I can intervene in the structure of matter and alter it at any time. Some of you may simply call this magic. For the uninitiated, I give you an original mathematical equation shared with me by the gods that will advance human knowledge eons beyond current human physics. I am capable of perceiving these mysterious forces of the gods in the nether regions of the spirit world. In this respect, I believe I am in a position similar to Sycorax in William Shakespeare's play The Tempest, of whom it was said, and I quote, "This damned witch Sycorax, for mischiefs manifold and sorceries terrible to enter human hearing, from Argier thou knowest was banished, for one thing she did." Unquote. Unfortunately, my conceptual faculties were callously mistreated by thieves stealing my social security number and identity. Unfeeling religious institutions of an inflexible mainstream religious community periodically agitate me into a nervously hysterical condition. This is of no consequence to anyone but your pubescent ego, and yet you bother me with the stench of your genital miseries. As an adult, it is my sole responsibility to cope with the unsanitary conditions of bacteria you splatter on the toilet seats of your mediocre lives, in which I am forced to survive. It is true, I am prone to melancholia and mystical tendencies, but this is my personal spiritual quest, and I trouble no one else with it. My mental illness has deteriorated into a demonic compaction of the frontal lobe area of the brain, at one time opening a large and bleeding wound over my right eye requiring 9 stitches and 1 week psychiatric hospitalization. I believe this accident was the result of a misunderstanding and abusive public response to my personality and my personally rapturous spiritual evanescence. The doctor in residence at the hospital explained that I was suffering from a neural diffusion of extrasensory ectoplasm obstructing the synaptic brain function. This was probably the explanation for the momentary episode of obsessive-compulsive disorder, depression, and paranoid psychosis I was experiencing at the time. I was cursed with infectious pox-like disease. I writhed in agony with painfully suppurated lesions oozing pus all over my body. Relying on astral travel, I was able to hover in my etheric body over my physical body and objectively view the myriad tortures I suffered. My illness began with fevers, headaches, muscle aches, backaches, and swollen lymph nodes. My body was raked over the luminous fires of hell until I collapsed into exhaustion. Within 1 to 3 days after the appearance of the fevers, I developed agonizing sores and rashes over my entire body. The lesions on my flesh expanded until a runny, boiling, awful burst from the leprous nodules. Dribbling streams of scalding, rank-smelling plasma crusted and fell off my skin. By the laws of universal, eternal, cosmic justice, I believe myself to now be germ-free, and I condemn my persecutors in the court of the gods with the sentence of infinitely excruciating punishment in the afterlife to come. This is not my will, but the will of my cosmic creator. Therefore, I believe it is important for the world to understand the protogenesis of where I originate from in this material domain. I am an avatar of the coming Ion. I am able to control the lunar phases of the moon by magical techniques that only I am able to understand by knowledge imparted to me from infernal sources. I am able to communicate with the Etherean Brotherhood all over planet Earth via subterranean tunnels traversed by myself with the assistance of the advanced race of underground humanoid dwellers known as the Agarthans, a superior civilization within the hollow caverns of the planet. My religious orientation is based on the decisions made for me by the gods, who have chosen my spiritual path for me. I do not decide anything but what the gods have decided for me. I am a religious person of faith, therefore it is my right in the Etherean Brotherhood to express my religious beliefs. I understand that this is a controversial spiritual belief system, But it is my ordained right as an incarnation of the dark matter of the universe to practice my religious beliefs in any way that I choose. After all the experiences I've described to you, I now consider myself something of a bitter romanticist. To some people, I have been infected by a narcissistic and histrionic disposition for extravagance or an elaborate spiritual eccentricity. This understanding by society has led me at times to appear to others as someone with an extremely depressed affect and morbid predilection for isolation and unresolved issues of anger. I was violently abused by recurrent physical beatings as a child for my willfulness to believe in ultra-high frequency enlightenment. I was relentlessly harangued by the mob with non-stop, sarcastic, cynical, emotionally wounding verbal tirades. My health was affected by these hostile atmospherics, and throughout my youth I was hospitalized numerous times for nearly fatal asthma attacks instigated by this corrupt system. The constant irritation of this repressive situation in my youth and the effect it had on my physical health instigated my spiritual rebellion. I was perceived not only as being different, but also morally unhealthy according to the authorities who dominated the social system I was raised in. Since I am a phenomenon of iron, indomitable will, this spiritual and physical torture did not alter my experiments in multi-dimensional time travel and interstellar communion with alien life forms from other planets. I am physically, spiritually, emotionally, and mentally bound to these alien and supernatural beings with which I still communicate, learn from, and have come to love. These aliens are my real family, providing me with an ecstatic nirvana of incorporeal enchantment. This is the best I can do to explain to you my experience in the etheric brotherhood of all souls, of which I am the highest degree of druidism. I tell you this in all humility, for I want more than anything in this universe that others should see and experience the glory of the great God. Thank you for listening, and have a nice day.
My friend called on the phone with a big surprise. Red pill from the store. Open up your eyes. So we went to meet the girl. Her name was Kat. She said, "Hey, nowhere, man. I'll show you where it's at. Red Dawn. It won't be long. Red Dawn. And then you're gone." Viking ship, Genghis Khan. She's so obscene. Don't know where I'm from. Left the human race. Walls drip ice cream.